The satellite uplinks in Canberra went dark at 0214 hours. But the noise out in the Kimberleys sounded like a diesel locomotive plummeting into a dry ravine. Captain Richard "Nobby" Clark didn't flinch. He was crouching behind a burnt-out boab tree, adjusting the strap on his F-88 austere. His uniform crusted with salt, red clay, and 3 days of unwashed sweat. Beside him, Corporal Mac McIntyre, a man whose face looked like it had been carved out of dry sandstone, was silently chewing on a piece of biltong, staring through a pair of night vision goggles at the valley below. A 300-meter Dominion drop dreadnought lay embedded in the red dirt. Its hull was a twisted mass of reflective obsidian, pulsing with a nauseating violet hum that made the teeth in Nobby's jaw ache. "Well," Mac muttered, spitting a bit of gristle into the dust, "that ain't a kangaroo." "No," Nobby replied, adjusting his watch, "and it's parked right over the supply track. We've got 2 vehicles coming up from Broome with fresh rations and dry socks. I am not walking back to base because some bloke in a glowing purple saucer didn't check his mirrors." Down on the valley floor, the dreadnought's primary assault ramp hissed open, venting a cloud of compressed liquid nitrogen into the 40-degree desert night. Out marched 30 shock troopers of the 1st Incursion Legion. They were 9-foot-tall, bioengineered conquerors clad in hyperdense kinetic carapace, armed with shoulder-mounted plasma disruptors that could boil a concrete bunker in 3 seconds. At the head of the formation stood Field Commander Cracks. His 4 ocular sensors flicked across the barren landscape, scanning for heavy artillery emplacements, planetary shield generators, or organized defensive ranks. His suit AI returned a single line of telemetry. 0 heavy ordnance detected. Biological presence. 2 heat signatures. Armament. Kinetic rifles. Threat level. Negligible. Cracks let out a guttural bark through his vocal synthesizer, a sound meant to shatter the morale of local garrisons. "Primitive units of Sector 4. Cracks's voice boomed across the gorge, vibrating the loose gravel. "This land is annexed. Stand down and prepare for assimilation." Nobby turned to Mac. "Did you catch any of that?" "Sounded like a broken fan belt," Mac grunted, sliding an M203 grenade launcher into position. "What's the play, Cap?" "Standard ambuscade," Nobby said, pulling a smoke grenade from his webbing. "No heroics. We hit him, we take the high ground, and we clear the track before the sun gets high enough to melt the boots off our feet." What the Dominion Central Command had failed to understand about the Australian Special Air Service Regiment was simple. They didn't fight according to galactic doctrine. They didn't stand in open lines, they didn't wait for air support, and they viewed high-tech conquerors not as a terrifying alien force, but as an annoying obstacle on a night patrol. Before Cracks could order his vanguard to advance, Nobby pulled the pin on a thermal smoke canister and dropped it directly down the cliff face. A dense wall of white phosphorus smoke billowed across the gorge, instantly blinding Cracks's primary optical sensors. "Engage thermal override," Cracks roared, raising his plasma disruptor. Bang! A single 5.56 mm armor-piercing round, fired from 200 yards away, didn't hit Cracks's chest plate. It struck the delicate, unarmored cooling valve on his left shoulder actuator. The pressurized coolant sprayed straight into the internal circuitry, freezing the joint solid with a sharp crack. "Tactical RE position," Cracks shrieked, stumbling backward as his suit's left arm locked up completely. "Target is using kinetic precision to neutralize hydraulics." From the shadows on the left flank, Mac didn't fire his rifle. He hurled a heavy, 90-pound steel recovery winch cable, snagged from the back of an SAS long-range patrol vehicle, straight into the path of the lead shock trooper's legs. The 9-foot alien warrior, moving at 20 miles an hour under full power, caught the steel cable across its shins. The momentum flipped 2 tons of chitin and bio-armor upside down, slamming the Conqueror back first into the razor-sharp Spinifex grass with a deafening metallic crunch. Before the remaining aliens could regroup, 3 SAS troopers emerged from the dry creek bed behind them. They didn't fire wildly. They deployed high-velocity flashbangs directly under the dreadnought's primary anti-gravity lift coils. The blinding magnesium flashes short-circuited the ship's hover stabilizers, causing the entire 300-meter vessel to drop 4 inches straight into the red mud, pinning its own deployment ramp shut with an agonizing screech of tearing metal. Inside the trapped vessel, the secondary invasion force panicked, hammering frantically on the manual override controls as the internal temperature inside the metal hull began to spike in the Australian heat. On the road above, Krax was flat on his back in the dirt, his suit system flickering with thousands of critical failure alerts, his primary weapon lying crushed beneath the fallen winch cable. Nobby walked down the gravel slope, his rifle slung casually over his shoulder, a half-lit cigarette hanging from the corner of his mouth. He stopped beside the fallen alien commander, looked down at the glowing violet armor, and nudged Krax's shoulder with the toe of his battered work boot. "Right then," Nobby said, his voice flat and unimpressed. "You've crushed 3 boundary posts, ruined the track, and made us waste 2 smoke grenades." Krax's translator sputtered wildly, emitting a series of high-pitched static pops. Query: "Where is your main army?" Nobby exhaled a thin stream of smoke into the night air and looked up at the stars. "Mate, this is just the night shift," Nobby said. "Now get your ship off our road before the boys from the transport unit get here. They've been driving for 12 hours, and trust me, they aren't nearly as polite as we are."